and receive a little consent message, but my name is Justin Carter. I'm a project associate for the Center for Rural Affairs, and I just want to welcome everybody tonight. Thank you so much for being here. This is our third session of our webinar series, Models of Native Cooperative Ownership. We're really blessed in this series to have some great speakers. Tonight we have Cheryl from the Numu Alati Association, excuse me. And we're also really privileged to have Pamela standing with us to continue facilitating this series for us. So if you're not familiar with the Center for Rural Affairs, we're a small nonprofit located in Lyons, Nebraska. We do a lot of work with small towns. We do small business assistance and micro lending, rural policy work, and work with grassroots food systems as well. And we work with the Native American communities of Omaha Nation and Santee Sioux here in Nebraska, and we have staff members in those communities as well. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Pamela to get us started. Thank you.
Osio Nigada. I'm Pamela Standing with the Minnesota Indigenous Business Alliance, and we're just so honored to have Cheryl Lohman here with us this evening from Numu Diip. And this woman has an amazing background. She worked for the BIA and she survived to tell the story. And she is really an expert on fractionated land titles and ways to bring people together around allotment land and to get people to work together and to work on healing the land and taking control of the land from, she'll share the story, and they have a very unique story too. So I'm really excited, and we just want to welcome you, Cheryl, for being here this evening, and it's yours.
Well, thank you, Pamela. Can you hear me all right? Okay?
Yes.
Okay, I just need to test my microphone. On the screen here, you'll see that the Numu Alati Association is a nonprofit, a native nonprofit of Oregon, and it was founded in 2014. The reason it was founded by the Alatis is we really needed some tools to help us because our land was fractionated and our public domain allotments are not under the jurisdiction of a tribe. And so you will see they call them hupu in our language, the baby basket to the left of your screen. And that was made by my grandmother, who passed away at 104 years old. And she made that for me when I was 6 years old. And it symbolizes our future generations. I was born and I was raised in a basket of this sort. And so the Numu Alati Association has served as the fiscal agent for the Numu Diip Cooperative. Numu Diip in our Paiute language means our people's land or our Indian land. And we put together the cooperative for economic development purposes. We use our nonprofit for funding purposes. And so the title you'll see, where the N Cooperative empowers Alatis to build capacity in Indian country. And Indian country is quoted because Indian country is legally defined by 18 US Code, section 1151, that states that our allotments are legally defined as Indian country and have the same rights as Indian reservations. And it's very important to know this because of the trust status of our land. And so I wanted to introduce the board members to the Numu Diip Cooperative. Daryl Newman is our president. He is a tribal member of the Reno Sparks Indian Colony out of Nevada. He is an undivided interest owner in Allotment 18. This is Bernal Pollard, who serves as our treasurer. His mother is an undivided interest owner in Allotment 18, and he is a prospective heir. And right down below him is Corey Cuiapama. He is Bernal Pollard is a member of the Fort Bidwell Indian community out of California. Corey Cuiapama is a tribal member from the Muckleshoot tribe in Washington. He is also a prospective heir, and he serves as our secretary. And over to your right corner is Cynthia Proctor. She is a member at large at our board, and she is the landowner in Allotment 17. And listed below down here is Wanda Johnson. She is our vice president, and she is the landowner in Allotment 16. And she is past tribal council person. All of our people are very well historically. They have education, they have experience, and they are very supportive of the project and make it easier on me as their project manager to work with. We have our vision statement that was put together by our steering committee. And later on, you will see some of our partners who were helpful in helping us come to our vision statement. And the vision is that the cooperative is going to exist to provide a clear business structure managed by the descendants of the original landowners that are the allottees, and a sense of accomplishment, ownership, pride, and a future for our youth to have, and also to have the cooperative be economically successful and be a model for others to follow. Our mission statement is to have a business plan that has all parties agree on economic decisions and plan and work for the success of the end cooperative that will benefit the cooperative members, and also assist the allottees in reasserting their power to exercise their rights to make decisions regarding their land in the development of successful agricultural businesses. And again, DE Numu Diip Co-op has been chartered under the state of Oregon, and we are citizens of the state of Oregon who happen to own trust land, and again, legally defined as Indian country under the statute. And then also under Public Law 280, where the federal government delegates law enforcement down to trust land in the state of Oregon. Our articles and bylaws is also chartered under the state of Oregon. And again, public domain allotments are not under the jurisdiction of a tribe. The bylaws allow the government, the allottees, to speak with one voice, allows for self-governance in the articles and bylaws, and allows the employees, again, to exercise their right to make decisions regarding their land and the development of successful agricultural businesses. We also have dealt with the issue of the fractionation on allotments. Listed in the next slide, we will show you what we did to deal with the fractionation. And we recognize that the cooperative is one way to deal with the fractionation for economic development. and using gift deeds, powers of attorneys to consolidate the fractionated interest. And I might point out to you, under the Cobell litigation, there was a court decision to deal with the fractionation, but only on Indian reservations where the tribes were provided money to buy out undivided interests from the allottees. And our public domain are excluded because we were not under the jurisdiction of the tribe. And here again is where we, I'll show you what we did, the before and after charts of the undivided interest owners, so that, and these were based on title status reports, track history reports requested from the BIA, and using wills, gift deeds, life estates, powers of attorney, again, and obtaining signatures from the landowners who are tenants in common. Here is the End Cooperative Project area allotments, 15, 16, 17, and 18. You will notice that our board members all represent, there's a representative for each allotment. And over here to your left, before the families exchange undivided interests by gift, you will see these were pretty fractionated. And we have, you know, the list of the owners and their undivided interest. After we exchange the deeds, you'll see that there are only 3, 4, and you'll notice that the allotments, like one landowner is primary, has, and they're really hard to see, but has about 69% of the allotment. And this is important because it allows the allottees to make decisions, because you need the majority of landowners' permission to do certain actions regarding economic development. And I'm also a landowner in allotment 18, and all of us who are all involved in our co-op, in our nonprofit, and every faction sit on the board members. And here is our public domain allotments. This is the ones in pink show all, there's approximately a little over 11,000 acres of public domain allotments. We started out having meetings with the rest of the landowners. However, you know, as things go, there was some passive aggressive behavior. So what we did is we just narrowed it down to the 4 allotments here to be a model. And that allows us to be more successful and not deal with any of the politics. And how we got where we're at today, we applied for grants to allow for allottee participation through our nonprofit. For example, we got grants from Rural Business Development, Socially Disadvantaged Grants, Native American Agricultural Fund, and let's see, I forgot the other one. We had another grant. And it allowed us to put together a steering committee, which I will show you some of our slides that show our partners, that was compiled of our allottees and partners. We always included the allottees in all decisions and got rid of the BIA. This was a visit to allotment. Try to get that out of the way. When we first started the End Cooperative Project, and you can see who we had. We had Native American Oregon Legal Services come out. We had some prospective allottees. We had some of our board members. We had Natural Resource Conservation Services. Oh, that was our other grant. We got to equip a grant from Natural Resource Conservation Services. And here is where the Alatis were hard at work. In 2017 in Madras, Oregon, we had our strategic planning session. Not pictured in this strategic planning session is Diane Gassaway, one of our favorite partners. And as you can see, these are all landowners participating, and you can see a lot of work was done. And here's our partners: Diane Gassaway from the Northwest Cooperative Development Center, Jib Wabadado from the Program Development Officer from the Indian Land Tenure Foundation. They did facilitating and training to us on strategic planning, helped us with our constitution and bylaws. Jim was very instrumental in helping us deal with wills and dealing with the fractionation on our allotments. And here again, here's Diane. You can see all the hard work she did facilitating. We're very proud of the work she did. And here's all the participants of the session. And somewhere here, I pointed out right there is Catherine Goodluck from the Intertribal Agricultural Council. And we had this session at the Tamashka Cultural Institute, their museum on the Umatilla Reservation. And we've also had some landowner meetings at the Burns Paiute Gathering Center in Burns, Oregon. And yes, you can see our people who participated. And I have some visuals to be presented. I wanted to talk a little bit about the history of our allotments, and also the water marketing for our allotments, and show you our bylaws. And also we did a regenerative grazing project. So what this means is I got to figure out how to pull up my, I'm going to stop the share for a second. So I need to pull up my, okay, let's look at the Malheur Indian Reservation. And I want to rotate this. Okay. Okay, here is kind of a map that was designed by the Harney County GIS. And as you can see, this land, this is in red. This is the former boundaries of the Malheur Indian Reservation, which was 1.8 million acres. And as you can see down here, there are our public domain allotments, and that's all that's left of the allotments. Our people were, some of our people, our ancestors, were taken as prisoners of war from Harney, Fort Harney over to Fort Simcoe on the Yakima Indian Reservation. And when they were released and when they came back, they were given these allotments. Some of the people didn't stay, and those that did inherited these allotments. And over here is the Burns Paiute Reservation. You'll notice it's sitting right outside of the original boundaries. However, the Burns Paiute tribe prevailed in the court of federal claims. They filed a claim because their land was taken from them. The government allowed the settlers to come in and homestead their land, and they prevailed in the courts on this, that the land was taken without their permission. So we really assert that the reservation our allotments retain all the rights of the reservation and before. For example, our water rights, first in time, first in right. And I'll talk a little bit about that. Let's see, let me pull up something else. Okay, here is our Indian Alati water rights study. It's a case study of the allotments on the former Malheur Indian Reservation of Oregon. This was written and authored by Margaret Schaff, JD of Kanim Associates, which is now Schaff and Martin Associates, and me as the project manager of the Numu Diip project for the Numu Alati Association. This is listed in the University of Colorado Environmental and Natural Resource Law Review. And you can view that on their website. And it's, I believe it's, I forgot the name of it. It's, I think Article 32, Issue 1. And we felt that this was very important for us to know our rights because of the issues in Harney County and the state of Oregon related to the drought, related to people out there who are diverting our water, who are overusing the water and who don't have the reserve rights that we do. And so we got on the Watershed Council to let them know who we are. So now they understand who we are. And I can't tell you how important this is. And across the country, a lot of the legal people do look at this. And it's really important for Alatis to understand their water rights also. This is very detailed, but I just wanted to give you a brief review of, that the public domain allotments are there. And our water rights, it's first in time, first in right, and we are exempt from if you don't lose it, if you don't use it, you lose it. And so there are other cases like the Klamath tribe that are fighting for their water rights, which really help us. And I won't go through all of this, but I want to highlight some of the history of why the Malheur Indian Reservation was not ratified. The treaty was not ratified because a conflict known as the Bannock War in 1878. The 7 chiefs and their bands that lived on the reservation were removed to the reservation, including the Yakima Reservation, Pyramid Lake, Nevada, Fort Dermott, Fort Bidwell, California, Klamath, Warm Springs, Duck Valley or Waihe, Fort Hall. And you'll notice that there's Grover Cleveland's name is listed. And if you remember our board members, Daryl Newman is from Nevada. Some of our Alatis are from Pyramid Lake. They're McDermott, they're from Warm Springs. And actually, I'm from the Round Valley Indian Reservation in California. So it's just this is just to let you know that we are on board and we understand our rights. And there's a couple of more things I wanted to share before we can have some discussion is let's see here. Don't want that one. I just want to go over our bylaws a little bit. Just bear with me just for 1 second. I apparently did not put our bylaws into. Okay, finally. Sorry about that. Okay, these are articles and bylaws, and these bylaws are cover sheet. It describes our logo and who we are, tells our creed. And our creed is we summon the Creator through the eagle to help us embark on new life challenges and creative journeys through new endeavors. Who we are the descendants who have inherited ancestral homelands of the Aboriginal Snake and Paiute Indians of the Great North Basin. Our logo, we chose the bald eagle feather as our logo because it belongs to the master of the sky, who is a messenger between the earth and the Creator. And then we feel we can do all things through the Creator, grandfather to us all, who gives us the strength and the courage to do what we have to do. And in our bylaws, this is where everyone has the opportunity to self-governance. Whether, you know, I was thinking about people in Canada. I don't know many of the laws in Canada if they're able to incorporate under the state or whatever they're called up there. I'm not good at geography, but it just, you know, describes our membership and our requirements. It also tells us, you know, settlement of disputes. It's everything that constitution bylaws of a tribe usually has. We have minutes, we have meetings, we record them, we make, our board makes the decisions. The allottees have empowered the boards to make decisions. And we did this because of the lack of I don't know what to call it, trust responsibility from the Bureau of Indian Affairs, who has for years has taken the you know, they've dictate to the landowners what they can do, and we're here to show you that they can't dictate to us. And we but with that, I will end. It's a pretty long presentation, so I will open it up, or Pamela, you know, it's up to you if you.
Well, one of the questions, and you may have answered it, but because you started out as a nonprofit, what made you bring the community together to start the cooperative?
For economic development.
Okay.
And the nonprofit is, we use this tool for funding, you know, raising resources. It's a different tool, and the cooperative is more geared to the allottees. It's, you know, they're the ones who are the members, and we're revising the bylaws to talk about, you know, who is going to be a member, because as you see, we have heirs, prospective heirs, and it gets pretty complicated because our articles and bylaws we decided not to issue common stock. And maybe our attorney, the legal advice told us not to issue common stock at this time. And it does create a conflict of accounting wise, because I've been working with a CPA on the taxes, and he wants to put funds, proceeds generated off of our allotments into the capital stock account and issue dividends. And I told him, no, we cannot do that yet unless we amend our bylaws. And so that's the economic development. For example, we have we did a regenerative grazing project test where we raised $4,100 in 2 months by leasing it. The co-op, oh, and another thing, the co-op has leased our allotments, the 4 allotments, which is very important, because then the co-op can make decisions and do projects. And we also, under the co-op, were funded a EQUIP grant, which was a, you know, what is that, environmental quality incentive program. So we got an EQUIP grant to develop the infrastructure on our allotments, fences. We put our first well in. We're getting prepared to do an organic seed farm. We're working on another project to restore our traditional foods that were overgrazed. You know, the Bureau of Indian Affairs leased the land with no lease compliance, allowed people just put their cattle in there, force fed them, and our land used to be meadowland. And now it looks like grazing land. Well, you can see behind me, that's one allotment. And it's just we haven't let anybody really on there other than the regenerative grazing test for 4 years. And the land is coming back beautifully. And we, you know, get water, our resources, and we're gonna do some really good stuff.
Now we have somebody from Canada on the call, and I know you had a question about Trista's on the call, and she is with Cooperatives First in Saskatchewan, and she's their Indigenous developer. So she's your version of Diane.
Okay.
She's up in Canada. And maybe you could ask her again what you were asking about how they do things in Canada. She might be able to answer your question about Trista. Were you, when she was talking about the provincial laws for land, did you hear what she was saying? Could you answer to that?
If you could like re-ask the question, because I didn't get the whole thing, and it was just.
Oh, it really wasn't a question. What I was trying to explain in the lower 48, that we have the ability, individual Indian landowners have the ability to form a cooperative under the state that allows us to exercise self-governance, because we're not under the jurisdiction of a tribe. We're approximately 30 landowners. And what we did was we formed a nonprofit to speak with one voice. We have elected our board, which are also members of the land or prospective heirs. And we, so this is what we did. And we excluded the Bureau of Indian Affairs out of our projects. For example, when we were funded the EQUIP grant, that's the Environmental Quality Incentive Grant, under our co-op, that was a federal undertaking by USDA Natural Resource Service. So that meant the government has to comply with their laws. For example, archaeological surveys, NEPA compliance, environmental compliance. They're responsible for doing that. When the Bureau of Indian Affairs issued the leases, that was an undertaking for them. However, they never complied with any laws. So the USDA, Natural Resource Conservation Service, and they come out and they give us the specs for our wells, which are guaranteed for at least, I think it's 10 years. Our fences are guaranteed for 40 years because they've been inspected by the federal government. And it's really important to be able to self-govern yourself. Otherwise, you can just sit back as an Indian landowner and let the Bureau manage it for you for nothing. They won't do nothing. And so I was just wondering if in Canada, you know, what, were there similar opportunities for, I guess the Canada as a country? Do they have what, provinces or states or something up there? I'm not good at geography. And so I was just wondering if you have the capability of doing similar things like we did in the lower 48.
Okay, yeah, so we do have like the 10 provinces. And in nine of the provinces, any type of reserve land is would be listed as like communal land. So unless there's agreements and leases from the nation itself, then there's really little opportunity. So like unless, yeah, leadership is involved and allows the land to be leased for those type of projects. However, in British Columbia, they have modern treaties, and those vary from First Nation to First Nation. So I really can't comment on them because they were negotiated fairly recently, and so they're all very different. So I'm not sure. But yeah, short answer is no, unless unless the leadership of the First Nation is in agreement and allows for the lands to be leased that way. So each, if there is an allotment, it is still on reserve land. So unless like the individual had purchased land, like the fee simple land, which is, you know, then that's the only way that a cooperative would be able to start without leadership approval.
Thank you, Trista.
You're
Cheryl, I have a question. Right now with the 4 allottees that are part of the cooperative, because when we looked at that land base, you said it was around over 11,000 acres in total. How many acres is the 4 allotments right now that you guys are working on?
All of the public domain allotments you saw in the pink are 160 acre lots. So our project is 640 acres.
Okay. And the work that you're doing right now, I mean, though this is public domain allotments, right, which is a little bit different than on reservation allotments. Can this model be replicated in other Native communities where they have allotment land that's fractionated to get the allottees to work together?
Yeah, it can. For example, my reservation in California, Round Valley Indian Reservation, is really fractionated. And, but there, you know, the fractionation can be dealt with because, for example, if there are 100 landowners and say maybe 80% of them have less than a 0.05 undivided interest ownership, the superintendent can make a decision on their behalf as long as they ensure that due process is held. So what that means is they will send a letter to all the landowners informing of them that there's going to be either a federal undertaking or one of the allottees wants to build a home, or but if they're related, it doesn't make any difference. But or some sort of undertaking is going to happen. Then the superintendent, if it's in the best interest of the allotment, can do that. So there is hope. I mean, we did it ourselves just so that we could just be more self-governance. And you've heard of the self-governance tribes. It's been commented that we act like self-governance tribes instead of, you know, some of the other, what do you call them, IRA tribes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, now Stephanie Gutierrez has her hand up and she had a baby in her arms. So I don't know if she had to walk away with her. Stephanie, are you available?
I am. I'm watching my grandbabies. Thank you for your presentation. I apologize, I didn't come in until 10 minutes late, but I was curious if you had any capacity issues or resistance from allottees around the cooperative model. So, you know, like understanding their membership, what that means, the way it's structured. Were people pretty on board, or what was the response?
For the cooperative, there was, because we're all, you know, I will tell you, we're all related in cooperative. So, you know, there are family politics and tribal politics. However, in the cooperative, though, because the allottees made the decision and elected their own board and empowered them to make decisions on their behalf, it's, you know, that was not a problem. However, the nonprofit, there was a problem because when we started, we reached out to the other allottees in the, the 11,000 acres. We reached out to them. And at first it was very positive. They were wanting, to do things. And then it got political, and being the person I am, I just don't have the patience for that kind of stuff. And so I talked to our board and allottees and said, let's just keep our nonprofit and let's just narrow it down to these 4 allotments as a demonstration model.
Thank you. That makes sense.
Does anyone else have questions?
I have one more. Is anyone doing regenerative agriculture on them? Are they growing anything regeneratively, like with animals and vegetables and things like that? Or what are they making use of the land for right now?
Well, as I said, we did a regenerative grazing test. We put, because our land was overgrazed, the Bureau of Indian Affairs allowed our land to be overgrazed. And so we didn't let anybody on there for 4 years. And so then we worked with this rancher that we trust, because everything about our land is organic. We don't allow anything on there that isn't. And so we put 175 cattle, and on each allotment, we divided them up into 40-acre paddocks. And the cattle were rotated around every 2 to 5 days. And we have the co-op negotiated agreement with this rancher, not the individual allottees, but the co-op did. And so they rotated the cattle, and they were done in a little over 2 months. And so when they were done, we have a agricultural economist. So he came down and he did an inspection for us and wrote a report. And we were very impressed. You couldn't even tell there were cattle there other than the queed up. and that is really important because it puts seeds out there. We have a video of the young man who is demonstrating, showing us how, the weeds are and the benefits of regenerative grazing. And that's one thing you can do. That's one project. We want to grow our traditional foods, and we've designated 5 acres of land, and then we want to do an organic seed farm, and we're doing a study on farming the sun, solar. We're going to farm the air for water. You can put hydro panels on and get water out of the air. So we're doing a lot of studies. We have a native engineering firm who is doing that for us. They're from Portland. We have really good partners all over the country and you cannot do this without money. That's why it's so important to have a tool like our nonprofit and our co-op to generate revenue. We started out with 0, and now our leverage in funding is $292,000. I think that's pretty good for a bunch of allottees.
That's amazing. We had another question. The person asks, we're supporting Black farmer cooperatives here in Maryland, and we're curious whether you had any pushback with land-related fundraising, Since we have found a lot of foundations don't fund land-based projects, they prefer to fund programs instead of land.
Well, it's our Numu Diip project through our nonprofit. Yeah, I'm kind of curious, the organization, if they're a Black organization. I've seen where there's a lot of funding, you know, coming out for those Indigenous groups. They're Indigenous just like we are. And I was thinking that, you know, a lot of those people have allotments, especially back east. They, you know, they married into Native American tribes or whatever. But I don't know why any Indigenous group, Hispanics do it all the time. They set up nonprofits and co-ops, and we're just doing it too. That's all. We are lucky enough to have the land base. We own the land base, clear, you know, and we don't have to pay taxes on our land. So we don't, so there's a lot of benefits. It's just that people, that's why we put it as a model. We just want to show Indian country, you know, you have this land, it's very valuable, people want it, and you can do something with it.
The person that asked the question, we're going to have another presentation in September from Soulfire Farm. And you've registered, and that is a Black Indigenous run group in upstate New York. And we also, Stephanie and I were in a Bali fellowship together, and we met a woman, Stephanie, if you remember Jenny's last name, but Jenny works on heirs property, which was given to freed slaves. And I know in the South that land's still intact. Maybe it isn't in Maryland, maybe in parts of Maryland, there may be heirs land, and they have the same issues with fractionation, with it fractionizing. And we can put you in contact with Jenny Stevens, and another group that we worked with in Vermont. They raised their money to buy their land, and they were Black Indigenous farmers, and they did it through GoFundMe. So there is other ways that you can, you know, that you can raise money to buy land. And I think you're right that it's something that a lot of foundations probably will not fund. There might be some that will, but just email me and I can send you some other resources that you can check on. Oh, she put something in there. The Center for Heirs Property Preservation. And we learned a lot about that when we were in the fellowship together. We were on St. Helena Island, and we heard from Shirley Sherrod, who started the Southern Cooperatives. And so there's some good resources out there for the work that you're doing.
I don't need more work, Pam.
Oh, oh, why not? Oh, why not? You got a lot of spunk and sass.
I'm retired.
We don't get to retire, Cheryl.
And I don't, and you know, it's easy to say funding, but it's a lot of work to account for it. And it's a lot of work to negotiate contracts with all these consultants, and I could go on and on, but.
Well, Diane, did you want to make any comments? Because I know that both Catherine and Cheryl both have talked about how important it was to have a skilled cooperative developer working alongside them. And did you have anything you wanted to share?
I appreciate the opportunity and good presentation, Cheryl.
Yes.
But I have to say the allotments are such a complicated thing I can't comment anything on that. That's Cheryl's expertise, and I know that we brought in some resources, but she's redone them. And, you know, I think we, the NWCDC, what we said was that, yes, you can do this. We think you can do this. And we helped, you know, start down some paths, and then Cheryl has gone in and refined it and made it way better. So I think we're just, oftentimes I feel like we're just there as cheerleaders.
Well, we want to thank Cheryl for her presentation and for the amazing work, and for what you're doing to advocate for self-determination and not letting those people push you guys around, and really holding strong. And that takes a lot of effort to, you know, to battle those things and have to keep battling them year after year after year. And you guys are just, what you're doing, and like what you're talking about with the water, with the solar, with the organic seed farm, you've got so many great opportunities and concepts that you're coming up with. So I don't know how you're going to retire. I think you're just
going to retire.
I don't know. Sometimes we just can't give up so early. But I just really appreciate you and want to thank you. And also, Justin has a note in here. He wanted people to do an evaluation. If you guys could take the time to do it, that would be really, really beneficial. And then we do have more presentations. We're going to be doing Native Arts in August. And then we're going to jump back. We have another presentation on Thursday with Shannon Kesner. She is with the Minnesota Department of Agriculture, and she's got a pilot project that she's doing where she's bringing all the Native farmers, the producers, the value-added producers, bringing organizations in to work together. And they're looking at forming a cooperative and working together to support each other. And so she'll be presenting on Thursday evening, and it's an interesting model, and I think it can be replicated anywhere. And so we have that, and then we'll have some other presentations, agricultural presentations in September. So we really want to thank you for joining us tonight. And we are just so grateful for Cheryl. And I've learned so much from having conversations with her. And man, this woman knows her stuff. She has a lot of experience behind her.
Because I'm old, Pamela.
Boy, you're not that old. So
72.
I know, but you're just, I know you get to be the oldest. I'm usually the oldest whenever we do things because I'm 67. And so, you know, it's like, geez, you took my spot away. I can't boss anybody around because you're here. So thank you so much. And everybody have a lovely evening. And we hope we see you on Thursday and in the upcoming presentations.
Tomorrow, on Thursday, you're having the Tohono O'odhams?
No, Tohono, we had to change it. They're not going to be on until September. I'm working with Francine, and she's getting those guys organized. And we are going to have Soul Fire Farm. And then we're going to have Fond du Lac Reservation. They have a new program. Well, it's 3 years old, but it's a farmer's education program. And when they complete the education, the tribe gives them 2 acres of land to farm.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah. So they're going to be speaking in September.
Yeah. Well, maybe next time we can show you a presentation, what we did on the Round Valley Indian Reservation on an allotment. We started a farm and garden project with the elders and the youth. And you know, we have a video on that. There just wasn't enough time to show it, but maybe when I come back, I can show you some of the other stuff we've been doing.
Love to have you back, Cheryl. And thank you so much. You have a beautiful evening.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thanks, Justin.
Thank you, Pam.
Okay, did you get anybody that filled out their evaluations?
One person.
Okay, well, we'll have to send it back out.
I can email it, folks.
So we'll probably, one of the things that we usually do, and other people do it to me, they hold the presentation hostage until I fill out their evaluation.
Oh, okay.
So maybe you want to wait to put those up.
That's,
and then say, when you finish the your evaluation, we will send you a link to the YouTubes.
yeah, that's a great idea. I'll do that. I kind of spaced out doing an evaluation for the first two.
Yeah. Okay.
It was just one of those things, but this one's very simple. But
yeah,
idea.
Okay. Well, that was a good presentation.
It was.
I wish I would have had more people. I got a hold of my friends down in South Dakota because they're really dealing with fractionation. And, so I feel if the word gets out, then people will seek her out for help, because she really does know her stuff. The woman she's got the battle scars and the education degrees, behind her, but she's worked in and out of government and really understands, especially the BIA, how they work or don't work. So she's really good. But I don't know where these other people came from.
Me neither, but they certainly found it valuable. It sounded
yeah. So I copied it. Now I got to just make sure, when you copy it, do you have to paste it to something?
What are you thinking about?
No, it didn't. I was trying to save the chat.
Oh.
And somebody told me you go to those little dots, or they call them an ellipse or something, and you can pull down and go save chat, but I don't know where it goes.
Oh yeah, I see it. Save chat.
Yeah, so it went somewhere, but not to me. Maybe it goes to you because you're the boss of this.
Maybe. I just got it. I just downloaded it. So.
Okay, well, I'm copying it and I can paste it.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say, I might be able to email this to you too. Or do you have?
I got it pasted, so we're good. Justin, I want to thank you so much. And I can't tell you how many people I've sent this out to. I've got a massive email list.
That's great.
Some of the people I'm really kind of frustrated with, like Montana.
Yeah.
Even we had a call yesterday and Charlotte was on it, but Davey wasn't on it. And this was on Indigenous cooperatives. And I was like, you're Indigenous. And I really was hoping that our friend Christine would have joined some of these, because they have the same issue at Santee with fractionation.
They do. Well, I mean, I guess I'm not as familiar with it, but I'm a little disappointed that we haven't gotten turnout from Santee or Omaha, but
yeah, and I don't know, like he was on for a few minutes last time, but the thing is, we're going to have them taped, and so we will have them. But it's just kind of frustrating because there are some people that really need to hear this, that will really benefit their communities. But I think it's too dang hot. People's brains aren't working right. And it's summertime, and I usually stop doing events in June. And then I don't start back up until a week after school starts.
Wow,
we do some things in communities, but I usually try to end in May, the second week of June at the latest. And we do things like little mini things, but I've just found the summer, it's like, oh, I hate it. With getting people to work together. And we're trying to organize. I've got these native photographers that I've hired, and they're going to be doing photo shoots, you know, like headshots for the new website for the Native Arts. And they're going to be doing photo shoots of their work, like 3 to 5 pieces. And we're going to be putting it on this new website. And, you know, and I let the photographers know we're taking appointments. And if they don't show up, then they don't get the pictures taken. Right. Because this is what we're offering them is probably about $1,000 worth of value for them to get a portfolio and a professional headshot done. Sure. And so I don't know what it is, but people are.
Right. Yeah, I think it is a bit of summertime. You know, there's a lot of good things going on.
What are you working on?
So I've been working today. I filmed an interview and a tour of a locally owned art studio in a very small town near here.
Wow.
Which was a lot of fun. And we're hoping to kind of put that together in order to promote the arts, help this business kind of get up and going, it's a really great studio and which I think is rare in a very rural community. But last week I did go up to Macy, up to the Omaha Nation community there, and they have one of the most excellent community gardens I've ever seen. They really have been working hard. I think Ted and Barry have talked about it in our meetings, but they gained access to 7 acres of land from the Omaha Tribal Farm, and it's off campus a little bit. It's near their football field.
Okay.
They have really, they just went all out this year. They have the Three Sisters planted. They have a pretty large plot of traditional blue corn, and then just tomatoes, cabbage, greens, zucchini, just numerous things. And they have a group of kids. It's all the school, really.
Is it the little kids or the high school kids?
It's mostly high school kids.
Okay.
Out there. They also have at the school, they have raised garden beds there, and they have some herb gardens, and they have a new greenhouse. They really have some great growing programs at that school, and we're trying to help them out now to get some access to maybe a USDA farm to school grant, which are good grants. We have one. Yeah, their outdoor education program, their growing programs have grown a lot in the last year. It's really neat.
Well, I just passed their article about the new high school that's going to have a cafe.
Yeah, the new academy. They're going to have a career academy there with a few tracks. And I was talking to my supervisor today, and hopefully the center with our entrepreneurship programs, hopefully we can play a part in the entrepreneurship instruction there too, because I know that's an area where they might need some support. But
there's I just have been in contact with Jamie Adams. She's in the tribal, she's in the economic development department at Fond du Lac. And I really wanted her to be on the call to talk about the partnership between the tribe and the community, because when Barry brought up that barrier, mm-hmm. I want him to see that there are communities where how they work together and how the tribe works with the community and listens to the community, and how that came about, because that didn't happen by accident. It took people really being vocal and kind of saying, this is, there was a bumper sticker that a friend of mine had, and it was, if the people lead, the leaders will follow. And mm-hmm. so I think sometimes that's what we have to do. But they have a really good program, like for their adults. And some of these people I picked, most of them I picked because of Barry's situation, to kind of speak to Barry's community and kind of look at, here's some things that you can be doing. And I always feel like if we have options, we make better choices. And so a lot of the people that I picked it was very intentional. And I picked the artists because of Christine. And, but you know, I was thinking about the program at Fond du Lac because they put them through business planning. And then when they complete their business plan, plus they have to work out on the farm, and they have access then to the high tunnels, the watering equipment. They have a couple of geodesic greenhouse domes. And then they also have like the tractor and the equipment that you need. And so when they get done, then they get 2 acres of land to grow. And they can do what they want on that land. And it's to, you know, increase food supply on the reservation, but it's also to help people create, you know, income for themselves and even look at value-added products. Yeah. So like that group, the partnership that we're going to be talking about on Thursday with Shannon, those billboards, weren't those amazing?
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that.
I want to be doing those all over the state. And it's like, I love that they're doing these billboards. And ACO, it's the American Indian Community Housing Organization, but they have a beautiful community farmers market now. It's every weekend, and they have artists and food producers together, and it's really popular. And it's bringing these people that are creating food at home, you know, different types of products. So it's, I just think that what she's working on with that pilot project, I think is a good, like with your Hispanic farmers. Mm-hmm. If you have somebody that's working directly with them, creating a group like this, so they know where they're all located. And then they're working together. Yeah. So they're really looking at how they can trade and exchange. They have a lot of questions that, like, one of the things, I don't know if it's happening where you live, but they want to start like a hemp growers association.
Oh, okay.
And so they're really into that. Now, this is non-medicinal hemp. You know, it's
industrial hemp.
Yeah, industrial hemp. But one of the tribes is going to be doing medicinal hemp. Okay. And but it you know, it's kind of interesting. So I have some research that I have to do for that group. But they want to start. When I was on the call today, it was a 2-hour call. It was really interesting. So they've got some really good participation, and I don't know who your worker from the Intertribal Ag Council would be for down there, because they're assigned to regions. They also have a really good curricula on their website for farmers. So check that out too. It's called the Intertribal Ag Council. Okay. And they're based in Billings, Montana. They were actually formed as an act of Congress. Okay. And they really do they've really gotten better and stronger. You know, there's a lot of people that don't know about them, but they have a lot of really good programs. And they have, they're going to have a big indigenous farm meeting up in Michigan in September, I think. And it's like a 4-day conference. And they bring all these different indigenous growers together and producers, and they have chefs, and and they talk about new techniques, and it's pretty cool.
That is cool.
And but I don't know if, like, Dan Corneliuson, I know he's in Minnesota and Wisconsin. I don't know if he's assigned to Nebraska, but I think it'd be worth you guys reaching out to him for, you know, for any of the tribes that you're working with.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's an idea for sure.
And like I said, they have an online course that they've developed. I haven't gone through the modules.
Okay.
And the other thing that they have is they have a listing of all Indigenous growers throughout the country that they work with.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. And it doesn't look like they have anybody listed for Nebraska.
Well, they need to get somebody listed. I think that Omaha should be on their list with their programs with the kids.
Yeah.
So, well, listen, I better can you email me your home address?
Oh, sure.
Because I want to send you a gift. So just a thank you for this. And, maybe we look at doing this next year, but doing it, maybe in the early spring before people are planting and doing things. And, it's up to you, but I just think that, or we promote the video recordings and really get them out in front of people.
Yeah, that's something that I really want to do for sure. But yeah, and I'd be open to seeing what we can do next year too. I'm very impressed with all of these speakers. It's just been so valuable so far.
Good. Well, I just feel really blessed, and like Cheryl and I were swapping war stories the other night, and, and I'm going, well, I'm 67. She goes, well, I'm 72. And I, okay, you got me beat. And because I was whining about my age, and I had to shut up. And, but she really, really, really knowledgeable. And I think the people at Dream of Wild Health, I'm really sorry that Barry missed that, because they're part of that Indigenous Seed Keepers. And she had mentioned that they were looking for seeds and, traditional seeds from home. And I'm going to hook Cheryl up with them and connect her with them about the seed keeping, because they're looking for traditional seeds too.
Okay.
For their, for their land. But, well, I'm glad you're enjoying the speakers, and I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to put these Native voices out on a public platform. I really appreciate that.
No, thank you. And yeah, looking forward to Thursday.
Okay, well, we'll see you on Thursday. You have a good evening. And be sure and email me your physical address, not your work address.
Okay.
Okay, talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.